Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got another 2024 rookie report here for you. We're going to talk about Mr. Odunze, one of my favorite players headed to the NFL draft. I was lucky enough to actually do an interview with Odunze before the college football season last year, so make sure you hit that up at the end of this show. I'm going to link that interview that I had with him. Pretty cool experience for me. Since then, he's been one of my favorite players. Was rooting for him all last year in college football, and it was so nice to see him. He is going to arguably one of the top three wide receivers taken off the board in the NFL draft. So I'll be joined by my podcast co-host Jason DiRienzo. We've been doing these reports for the last 2 months. Got another month here before the draft, and we're going to talk everything you need to know about Odunze, his scouting report, his PFF grades, some statistics, player comps. We got it all for you. So thanks for watching. You play Dynasty, you play Fantasy, and you're looking for a YouTube channel out there that's going to give you detailed breakdowns of not just this rookie class, but we're already starting to scout next year's class and the following as well. Hit that subscribe button. Help me grow the channel. Let's get to the show. Let's start off with Odunze. All right. So, like I said, I cut up film on 3 games. His last 3 games of the season: the Oregon game, Texas game, and Michigan. And I said I might as well just start at the back of the season, right, against the 3 best teams. So Odunze, right, top 3. Wide receiver in the draft in everybody's mind, 6'3", 215-pound senior coming out. Let's go through his career statistics here: 190 receptions, 2,900 yards, 24 TDs. Played primarily out of the on the boundary, 75%. In the X and Z positions, 25% in the slot, 65% catch percentage over his career, and 14 drops over the course of his drops, as well as PFF grades across the board. Pretty solid, really in the higher echelon, close to the 90th plus percentile across the board for receiving grade. Contested catch rate, one of his best traits that I'm sure we're going to talk about when we get to his scouting report. His grade versus man coverage was really, really good too. Really one of the better ones in college football, nonetheless. Yards after the catch, 5.3. Probably not where he's going to make his bread and butter. Ranked 212th in college football. Deep catches, 21st in college football with 20 receptions. With 20 receptions, deep catches. I think that's 20 plus yards. He was a vertical threat. There's no doubt about it. I think that's why everyone's super excited about him. And deep yards, 655 second. So you got a guy who's 6'3", 215 pounds, with the most deep catches in college football and the most yardage too. That's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
so his scouting report, right? He's going to be one of the X receivers in this draft, right? He's going to be,
Yep.
kind of the top receivers are all pretty much in this taller realm of receivers. So when we watched all the film, right, for the Washington
Mhm.
games, because we did Polk and we did McMillan too. Did you feel like they were schemed open a lot, like
Oh,
through the motion and through
so much, man.
stack double set? It was funny because when I did the all 22 film reviews on these, they played the same 5 plays over and over and over again. It was really interesting
Yes, they
because
do.
you could see that it was the same kind of plays over and over, and they were getting open with misdirection and stuff. So, what is that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, to me, when I see something like this, I need to look at the mechanics of the actual player.
Hmm.
Watch how they execute the release. Do they have release moves? Are they able to use manipulation? Do they hand fight through their route? Do they hand fight at the line of scrimmage? How do they separate the top of the route? So it's more so I have to watch the mechanics and how they deploy their skill set because it's going to be too hard of a read if they're going in motion and that's how they're getting a ball or it's on a screen pass, and we see a lot of that was a hard thing about watching the Texas offense too because they did so many screen passes, and I didn't even realize how much Washington does screens until we broke down the all 22 and I started watching more film. So it really comes down to identifying the player's skill set alone and then trying to project that into an NFL offense. And that's where it becomes a little bit difficult.
And I think you hit it right on the head. Projection. That's what like
Yeah.
all of these rookie reports are about, right? Because we see these players on the field, but how they translate, it's a huge transition going to the NFL from college football. That's why a lot of these players, as great as they look like on the field, um, you know, have a hard time transitioning. You got to be a space creator. So let's talk about his scouting report in a little bit more depth. I mean, the guy's got the mad ball skills, right? He's got the catch radius, he's got the physicality at the catch point. I think what people get excited about him is he's that go up and get it kind of big physical receiver.
Mhm.
Like I said, a true X receiver, the ability to high point, big catch radius. Outside of that, what did you see, from the positives on his film?
Hey, you know what? As far as between last year and this year, I really appreciated the development within his actual route running. Like, I think he's much more of a manipulator. I like
Mhm,
the release moves that he provides at the line of scrimmage. Doesn't use like foot fire or anything, but understands how to use a single or double move. Knows how to hand fight, use a swim or swipe to get around the defender. Leverage the inside or the outside by manipulating the hips of the defender he's facing. It's got good speed to eat into the cushion if it's off coverage. And then also at the top of his route, I think he got a lot more crisp in understanding exactly how to manipulate and break in those routes with a lot sharper and crisp cuts. So that part of his game, watching that development from year to year is huge because that was one of the biggest knocks that I had on him is I feel like he had all the play strength and the hands and everything last year, but I just didn't see a nuanced developed route runner. I saw that this year. So for me, he kind of put it all together. I would say the one of the major it's a knock and nitpicking at the same time. He's a little bit too upright within his release and within his route. I want to see him, kind of run behind his pads a little bit more so he can get low, have a little bit more center of gravity, and that way it also offers the ability to do head nods and different gestures in order to manipulate that way. But
mhm.
other than that, I saw a full rounded receiver developing before my eyes this season.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think 2 things that probably he doesn't bring to the table, although it's enough speed, he's not, like, I don't think an explosive playmaker with the ball in his hands, and I'm
Yeah,
not sure
and that
he's
that
gonna.
his size, I'd be impressed if he was.
Exactly. So that doesn't mean he's probably not going to provide a lot of a yak and stuff like that. And I didn't find him overly elusive with the ball in his hands after the catch. I mean, he seemed to get what he could.
Mhm.
So he's going to be one of those guys that goes to the NFL here. He's gonna be that physical receiver that wins through physicality. Do you think he's going to be a consistent separator in the NFL?
You know what? Watching the development between last year and this year, I do, because that tells me 1, he's coachable, 2, he learns fast, and 3, he accepts constructive criticism and he's critical of himself to improve in the areas he needs to.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I went back and I watched the interview we had with him. Like he gets it. He's a
Mhm.
very smart, intelligent, mature person who understands what he needs to do to succeed. And I think if he knows there's an area he needs to improve, he'll improve it.
Did you say the interview with me? Is that what you said?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the one you have with Rome. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 that's cool. So if you guys don't
Yeah, you
know, if you
you
could.
you can just tell, like, he oozes confidence and he's
Right.
very genuine, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, dude, he's such a nice guy, and if you're watching
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy is on YouTube or even listening on my podcast, you can, go on my YouTube channel, and I actually had the opportunity to interview Rome Odunze before the college football season. It
Oh,
was a
go
pretty
check it
cool
out. It
experience,
was
yeah.
great.
Yeah, you're right, he's such a nice guy. The intangibles are off the charts, and you could see that actually at the
Absolutely.
combine when he didn't get off the field, and he was like, "I'm gonna do this 3-cone
Oh,
drill," or
yeah.
whatever
And
cone drill until it's
yes, I'm
exactly
glad
what
you
you
brought that
want,
up. That's
so
exactly what I'm saying. He will do what it takes to improve.
great. So, all right, let's talk about his draft capital. I've been watching I love mock drafts, man. I am like a mock draft junkie. Every morning I get up, I drink coffee, and I'm looking at mock drafts. He's as high as sometimes as 6, off the board, and
Mhm.
sometimes he's down there at 10, 12. And I saw the horrendous landing spot of the Tennessee Titans this morning, and I was like, no,
Not
no.
anymore. I don't think that's gonna happen no more, so we're good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, he's going to be an early to mid round draft pick. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
he's going to be a first round rookie pick. All right.
Mhm.
Without a doubt as well. He'll be off the board before the second round. So you're going to have to make your decision if you're after Marvin Harrison Jr., where he's going to fall in line with you. So our favorite part of the show is our comps. It might be your favorite part of the show, but sometimes not mine. But I look at his game. I see like a Cortland Sutton type. a boundary guy who really wins on the outside primarily, that vertical deep threat guy who makes like crazy catches, but doesn't really offer a lot in the yak and isn't like super explosive. Like you never see Cortland Sutton, get the ball, in a short slant or something like that, taking it to the house. And most 6'3", 250-pound receivers probably don't do that, but there are some that can. I got a comp of Cortland Sutton, which would be great. I think Cortland Sutton's a little underrated. I think he's just never had a really good quarterback situation since he's been in Denver. I think if he was on a team that could really get the ball consistently downfield to him, he'd be, much better stats. But I think he's a wide receiver, too, sometimes during his career. Who was your player comp?
Yeah, I can see Cortland Sutton for sure. I have T. Higgins. I think they win very similarly, and I think the route running that I saw from T. Higgins coming out was a little bit more raw in comparison to what I see from Rome. I think Rome might actually be a more nuanced route runner than T. Higgins, but competitive at the catch point and everything else that he brings, I can see the combination of what T. Higgins does.
Yeah, well, that's nice, man. He is going to be a fun, and you know me, because I interviewed the guy, I got a little soft spot in my heart for him. So I got like three shares, and I got two or three shares in my Devy leagues and stuff. So,
Nice.
and I think I'm in a position in one or two rookie drafts too to get my hands on him. So fun player. Really looking forward to seeing him
Absolutely.
and where he lands. And like I said, his intangibles I think are off the charts, and I just I'm rooting for the guy to really land in a great situation. So there's our rookie report on Mr. Rome Odunze.